The Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Financial Survival Network is presented to you by Regal Assets. Buy and sell physical gold and silver through your existing retirement plan, 100% tax-free with Regal Assets. If you want to include physical gold or silver in your existing IRA or old 401k, request your free investment kit, which was recently featured in the Forbes and Smart Money Wall Street Journal magazines. Call toll-free 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620, or visit regalassets.com. 1490 WGCH. This is Kerry Lutz, and you are listening to the Financial Survival Network. You know, gold's kind of gone not much of anywhere in the past year and a half, but there's another currency that's been obliterating gold's performance, and that is Bitcoin. Don't own it, not that sure about it, but my next guest, Trace Mayer of runtogold.com, has long been a proponent of it, and he's here to talk about it now. Hey, Trace, how are you?
I'm doing well, Kerry. Good to be back with you.
Always a pleasure. You know that. We've hung out together. We broke bread, and we have a good time. And now you've been telling me about Bitcoin for the past over a year and putting its performance up against gold. And then we hear that Gold Money, Jim Turk's operation, is considering accepting Bitcoin for purchases. What's going on here?
I think that Mr. Turk is finally learning a thing or two about money and currency in the information age, or at least they're testing the waters, because they did this annual survey that they do every year where they ask customers to come and let them know what they're doing well, what they can improve in, goods or services that they can offer. And they asked two particular questions. One of them was, how much are you interested in using Bitcoin for online transactions? And the other one was, please specify below which Bitcoin functionality you would like to use. Use Bitcoin to buy precious metals with gold money, use gold money to store Bitcoins in a secure wallet, or other. And so it looks like they're testing the waters, trying to see if there's some demand for integrating with Bitcoin. And if that were to happen, I think we could see some really big movements in the price of Bitcoin, mainly because gold money's got $2.2 billion in the vault, and the current market cap of Bitcoin is about $140 million. So just moving 1% of the capital that gold money customers have into Bitcoin would more than double the current market cap of Bitcoins, and that's and you have to take into account the prices are set at the margin, and a lot of Bitcoin holders don't really need to sell, and so I think we could see the price of Bitcoins go up 3 to 5, maybe even 7 times if an institution like Gold Money were to integrate with it and make it very easy for people to buy and store their Bitcoins. Right.
And, you know, we have a lot of people around the world constantly getting new listeners. Please define what a Bitcoin is, how they're created, how they're regulated, how we don't have hyper Bitcoin inflation.
Yeah, this is a fascinating new digital currency. What makes it special is that it's the first censorship-resistant currency. And the way it's regulated is not with laws and politicians who are so good at keeping their word, right?
Oh, yeah.
Instead, it's regulated by strict laws of physics, chemistry, and mathematics because it's built on cryptography that's applied through computers and through computer science. It's applied through a decentralized peer-to-peer network. And so it operates all over the world on hundreds of thousands of computers, and it's just open source code. And it's the first example of where computer code has been able to create a scarce digital asset that can't be double spent. And so really you can think of Bitcoin like gold, but on the internet. As Rush Limbaugh recently said, Bitcoin, which is the currency of the internet. So he kind of gets it. And so it's like gold on the internet that you can spend with people, and yet it's still limited in amount. So you can't just copy and paste it like a PDF. And since it's censorship resistant, it's extremely difficult for any governments or regulators or anybody in general to try and stop it.
But, we look at the NSA. They've got unlimited resources within the government, literally. Don't you think it's probable that once Bitcoin appears to be a threat to the fiat currency orthodoxy, that they go after it full guns blazing and try to wipe it out?
Well, I mean, go ahead, get out that gun and shoot that math problem till it's solved, right? I mean, that's...
Well, that always worked for me in school.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you. I found it easier to just solve the math problem, but, than rather than just, beat that math book to death, right? But that's really the problem they've got, is Bitcoin is just the first iteration. It's just the first of its kind. You've also got Namecoin and Litecoin and Devcoin and all these other little branches of Bitcoin. Because really what has been solved is the double spend issue. And so whether they try to stamp out Bitcoin, there will be just another cryptocurrency that arises to take its place. Because the market is searching for a censorship-resistant currency. And it's kind of like with file sharing, right? I like to use the example of Napster. When file sharing first started, there was Napster, and the politicians, they did what the recording industry said, and they went and they shut down Napster. Well, then Bram Cohen invented this new protocol for routing traffic over the internet called BitTorrent. And now something like 25% of all internet traffic runs through BitTorrent. Well, why haven't they shut BitTorrent down? Because it's been running for almost a decade. And the reason they haven't shut it down is because they can't. And it's the same thing with Bitcoin. You had eGold and DigiCash, and you've had PayPal, and they either got regulated to do whatever they wanted, like in PayPal's case, they shut off all donations to WikiLeaks, so the State Department's like, look, you're going to play ball or we're going to shut you down. And then there's eGold, who they indicted, the Department of Justice.
Sure.
And they had a centralized point of failure. They were able to exert pressure on a particular point in the network, like Napster. But with Bitcoin, they can't do that because it's protocol. It's just software code, and it's open source, and it runs on hundreds of thousands of computers already, and eventually it will run on millions and millions of computers. And so they would have to go stop every single computer. And the actual traffic, as it's running on the internet, it runs at a sublayer in the internet. So there's no way to really tell the difference between Bitcoin traffic and traffic that's going to your online banking website like Wells Fargo or Bank of America or E-Trade, because it's all encrypted. And so they really have a problem. And I think that the reason that they haven't stopped it is because they can't. And as we talked about last time, the Bitcoin network itself is now the largest decentralized computer network on the planet by an order of magnitude. It's got over 300 petaflops. And the Department of Energy, they just spent $1.2 billion on a supercomputer that has 15 petaflops. And so even if they were able to mount a significant attack against Bitcoin, and while they're mounting that attack, they would have to pay for all the computers and pay for all the electricity. All that they would be able to do is stop the network from processing payments. And then as soon as they stop the attack, because maybe they ran out of their electric bill because they went over the fiscal cliff and they weren't able to rent like some governments up in Indiana, as soon as that happens and they can't continue the attack, the network goes back to operating just like normal. And they're not able to roll back any of the transactions that happened previously. They can maybe roll back 3 to 4 what are called confirmations that happen every 10 minutes. But after that, it gets exponentially more difficult to do that. And it's just infeasible. It's just completely impractical from a physical and a mathematical standpoint to be able to like mount a significant attack on it. The one that I think you're kind of contemplating.
Right. Well, I'm intrigued by the idea. I'm thinking I'm going to buy some now. What's the exchange rate on the Bitcoins now?
Well, I know last time we were talking about it, it was about $5. But it's since broken about $14 per Bitcoin. So it's been performing extremely well relative to both gold and dollars, euros, yen, etc. It's by far the best performing currency out there of all of them. And it has no counterparty risk. So it's kind of like gold in that regard. And once you have them in your little wallet, you don't have to worry about them like disappearing or getting stolen, as long as you employ proper privacy hygiene and secure them. And I teach people how to do that in a free guide that I put together at freebitcoinguide.com. So, that people through step by step and reduces the learning curve, because they are kind of a geeky computer geeks currency, right? We're for people.
Is there a particular site you go to buy Bitcoins, or what?
Yeah, there are a whole bunch of different exchanges out there. One thing I like to do is there are a lot of people who will meet you in person, like at the local Starbucks, and you can buy like $100 or $200 worth there. You can also there's a site that will help you go down to like a 7-Eleven, and you give the cashier cash, and in about 15 to 30 minutes you have your Bitcoins in your wallet. So that's really handy and nice. Like, they have over, I think, 800,000 locations all over the world, whether it's Russia, Brazil, all over the Caribbean, the U.S. So it's really, these bridges are getting built between Bitcoin and the current monetary system. And I think gold money is just the next one that's kind of eyeing this opportunity and being, oh man, we could make a lot of money if we met this market need. And, I cover a lot of these in the free Bitcoin guide, and I update it too on a regular basis. That way, as new service providers come in, people are able to go with the ones that are reputable and safe.
Well, Trace, that's really interesting. I think I'm going to have to break down and buy some, but I'll tell you out there before I do it, so no insider trading. I just wrote a book called Forget Wall Street, Go for the Gold and Silver Too. Now I'm thinking of changing that title, saying Forget Wall Street, Go for Bitcoin, Gold, and Silver Too, because it sounds like, I was skeptical of this, and it seems to keep marching ahead and going, and maybe it will become the people's currency. So the name of that site again, for if you want to learn more about Bitcoin?
Yeah, you can go to the freebitcoinguide.com. And I completely agree with you. It is the people's currency. WordPress recently announced that they're accepting Bitcoin for every service that they offer, because they want all bloggers to have access, and that includes financial access to servers and things like that, to be able to pay with them. And they don't want to be locked into only using PayPal and credit cards, because as we're seeing, PayPal and credit cards, they are blocking particular sites because of their political speech. So perhaps your web host won't let you host Financial Survival Network anymore because you talk about things that the establishment doesn't like. Or like this gun dealer in Scottsdale, he's a registered FFL. He's audited by the ATF and Department of Homeland Security. And Bank of America froze his bank account because they didn't like him selling guns and gun parts on the internet. So if we're going to avoid this type of economic censorship, then we have to use a non-politicized currency that is also censorship resistant. And Bitcoin really does fill that role, because unlike gold, we can use Bitcoin on the internet, and we can transfer it all over the world, and it can't be seized or confiscated or impeded in any way. And so I think it is very critical for our civil rights and for our ability to exercise our economic sovereignty.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, Trace. And hey, thanks so much for coming on Financial Survival Network again. Sign up for the newsletter, sign up for the special reports. I'm going to do one on Bitcoin shortly, because that's the way I'm going to really figure out exactly what's going on and learn more about it. So, Trace, thanks again for being on. Hopefully we'll see you over at Freedom Fest, and we've got a little get-together that I'm hoping you'll be able to attend in the Republic of Texas, the city of Dallas. It's going to happen June 22nd, a Liberty Mastermind group, and it would be great to have you there.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I'm going to have to put that in the calendar.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. You be well.
You too. Bye.